Hey everybody, Grumpy Old Man and a Dodge Charger back again for yet another episode. So, what I figured I'd do today, just to kind of change things up a bit, instead of just me bitching away and telling people how to live their lives and what not to do, blah blah blah, I thought I'd do something with a little bit of fun to it. So today, I'm going to do my top 10 list of MoPar-centric films. MoPar is basically any Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth vehicle. You can include AMC in there. And yeah, I mean, there's plenty of car movies, car-based movies, Smokey and the Bandit, Ronin, Italian Job, you know, all those types of car movies there. Gone in 60 Seconds, Need for Speed. All of them have some great scenes. All of them have cars. But specifically because I am in my Charger, I'm going to talk about Dodge movies. So the first movie on my list, or should I say the 10th movie on my list, is going to be Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. Not a lot of people are familiar with this one. It's an older movie. It's early 70s. And it's Mr. Fonda driving around in a yellow 69 Dodge Charger. Basically, it's a couple. They're robbers, and they use the Charger as their getaway car. Has some really great driving scenes in it, and because it's an older film, they actually use a lot of Chargers for the main hero car. Second one on my list, another one that most people haven't heard of. It's a Charlie Sheen film called Terminal Velocity. Now, Terminal Velocity, Charlie Sheen plays a skydiving instructor. Woman shows up to take a skydiving lesson. Her chute doesn't open. She dies. So it becomes kind of a bit of a murder mystery-esque kind of thing. But in this one, Charlie Sheen drives a Alpine white 1970 Dodge Challenger, RT as well. So it's basically the Vanishing Point car. We'll get into Vanishing Point later. But it's this beautiful white 70 Challenger. There's a lot of really nice scenes in it. Charlie drives it and, just does a lot of burnouts and stuff like that. So it's definitely has its moments of entertainment. So next on my list, I've decided to go with Death Proof. And Death Proof has, again, the white 70 Challenger RT, the bullet, or the Vanishing Point car, and a black 69 Charger. So Kurt Russell's using his Charger, and he's using it, he's stuntman Mike, and he's using his Charger to try to kill these girls in the 70 Challenger. Some fantastic driving scenes in it. Obviously, Quentin Tarantino is doing more than just an homage to Vanishing Point. He even mentions the fact that it is the Vanishing Point car a few times in the film. My only issue with Death Proof and why it didn't get higher on the list is because in order for the girls to play that game Ship's Mast, where they're on the hood with their belts strapped to the window frame of the doors, Challengers don't have window frames. Chargers, like mine, do, but back in the day, Dodge cars rarely had window frames. The Challengers and the Chargers never did. It was just a big gaping window hole. So the fact that Quentin put these gaudy window frames, and they just don't look right. They don't fit well. They don't look right. It's nonsensical in my opinion. If he's going to do this Ship's Mast, he could have taken a rope or something, put it around through the windows, around the front windshield. That would have been sufficient. But instead, for some reason, he went with these frames, and it just looks awful. So I'm very disappointed in that, and that's why it didn't score higher. But Death Proof, as far as a Dodge movie goes, is definitely a recommendation. Next, I'm going to go with Fast and Furious series. Some people might not include it at all. Some people might have it higher on the list. It definitely has its share of Dodges in it. My thing is, I'm going to do a whole other video talking just about the Fast and the Furious series and the Dodges that are featured in those movies, because I just don't have the time in this video to go on and on about those cars. Simple as that. So next on my list, I'm going to go with Natural Born Killers. Natural Born Killers, some people have seen it, some people haven't. So as you can say that about every movie. But Woody Harrelson, he is, Mickey and Mallory. And Mickey and Mallory are serial killers, and they drive an orange 70 Challenger convertible. Now, when Oliver Stone was directing the film, he basically said that a 70 Challenger convertible looks like a car that a serial killer would drive. So, really, what more of an endorsement could you get? Next one, I decided to go with the 68 Charger in the Blade series. Wesley Snipes as the half man, half vampire, the Daywalker. But the 68 Charger that they use, personally, I think it's a beautiful car, all blacked out. 68 Charger with a 6-pack hood. Now, the Charger never was offered with the 6-pack hood. The Roadrunner and the Super Bs were. So, nice little touch on that. Little bit of originality to it. It's not just a, your basic Charger. They did a little bit of customization to it. Looks great, and there's a scene in Blade 2 where he uses the car to block off an alley so the motorcycle vampires can't escape, and at one point he skids up next to it and gives a little, guy likes his Charger. I can't blame him. Next up is the 71 CUDA, excuse me, in the Phantasm movies. Phantasm was a series of horror films back in the 80s, back when they were doing, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and all that kind of thing. It features the tall man. It takes place mostly in like a morgue or a funeral home. And the main guys who keep going after the tall man to try to destroy him, they drive CUDAs. The first one, it was a 71 CUDA. It was a triple black 71 CUDA. So triple black being, it was a black paint, black interior with black decals and a black roof and the whole bit. The engine was a 340 cubic inch engine. It wasn't a big block. It was a 340. But back in the day, a 340, you could churn out a decent amount of power with a few modifications out of a 340. Subsequent cars, I think there might have been a 72. I think there was a convertible at one point. But the main car is a 71 Plymouth CUDA. So that's the one that I'm recognizing at this point. Next up, third on the list, would be the Dukes of Hazzard movie. So some people might scoff when I say that, but here's the thing. The film itself, meh. Johnny Knoxville and Stifler, Bo and Luke Duke. But the thing is, the driving scenes in that movie are fantastic. And that's really what I'm focused on here is the Dodge. Not the acting, not the storyline, but the cars themselves. And that scene where the General Lee, the 69 Charger, is doing the power spin around the statue of the General Lee, which, based on the news, I imagine isn't there anymore. But I believe it was in, was it Atlanta? No, it wouldn't have been in Atlanta. Anyway, I don't remember where the statue was, but they're basically doing a power slide. For the record, some people call it drifting. Imports drift, muscle cars power slide. So it's just doing this beautiful power slide around this statue in a turnabout, and beautiful driving scenes mixed with a great 80s rock soundtrack. Seeing a 69 Charger whipping through the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, cop cars chasing it, to an AC/DC soundtrack is it's just eye candy. I mean, it's car porn at its best. So that's my number 3 spot on the list, just because you can't beat a 69 Charger in those scenes. And even at the end, there is a 72 Challenger in the main Hazard County race. It's green with some black accents. You see it a few times throughout scenes, but even those race scenes there, it's just, you can't, you literally can't beat a 69 Charger. My number 2 choice would be The Wraith. Funny enough, another Charlie Sheen film, where he basically just plays this teenager that gets murdered and then comes back. Similar to The Crow, I suppose, in concept, but he uses a Dodge Turbo Interceptor as his murder weapon. He uses his car to kill this band of street racing thugs. Beautiful car. It's very 80s, 80s soundtrack, 80s look to it. And the car itself just has this very 80s, almost like a Charger Daytona, mid-80s Charger Daytona kind of a look to it. But it was a pace car that Dodge made. Pretty much it's a one-off, and it's this Dodge Turbo Interceptor. In the movie as well is a nice 69 Barracuda. So I'm going to go with that. It's a great film, very campy, but that's my choice. Number 1, of course, Vanishing Point. As far as car movies go, they're like Vanishing Point tops almost every list. So it's Barry Newman, the original 1971 version. Barry Newman is a car delivery driver, and he gets hopped up on a bunch of Quaaludes and makes a bet with his drug dealer that he can't get from Colorado to San Francisco this is Friday night. He can't get there by Sunday morning. So he takes this guy's brand new 70 Challenger. It's all modified. That's why he's delivering it. And it's just him racing through the desert being chased by cops. Very, very 70s, early 70s soundtrack, very 70s feel to it. But it's just one of those movies that is so iconic. It's been, talked about in movies. It's been homaged in music videos and all sorts of stuff. There was a remake in 1997. Fox made a TV movie. It took a while for them to release it, starring a pre-Lord of the Rings Viggo Mortensen, funny enough, and a 90210 Christine Elise. And they changed that up a bit. It's still a 70 Challenger, except instead of a 440, it's a Hemi car this time. And he, instead of making a bet with his drug dealer, his wife has lupus and she's pregnant and she has a health scare. So he's got to get to his wife before she dies, basically. And the cops pull him over for speeding. They want to hold him over for bond. And he obviously takes off. He's got to get to his wife. Jason Priestley is the DJ instead of Cleavon Little in this one. But for a TV movie, again, a lot of great driving scenes, a lot of amazing shots of the 70 Challenger. The only thing is when they actually show the Hemi when he's doing an oil change, they dubbed in a 69 Hemi Charger, and so the air breather, the Hemi head as they call it, is the pre-1970 chrome Hemi head instead of the 70 ongoing, the orange oval. Couple of quick honorable mentions. Of course, you have Blues Brothers. There's the Daytona in Joe Dirt, which was a modified 69 Charger, not a real Daytona. The Charger in Bullet, that Steve McQueen driving a Mustang couldn't actually keep up with the black Charger, so the stunt drivers had to keep letting off the throttle to let him catch up, funny enough. There's the GTX convertible in Tommy Boy that gets all banged up. And then there's the Dennis Hopper starring film that was produced by Steven Spielberg. It was a movie of the week called Duel, where he drives a 71 Valiant. Anyway, that's my list. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, what your favorite MoPar movies are. Till then, be excellent to each other. Stay off my lawn.